SNL Live. It is playoff time. Landry Locker, Cody Stutes with you here on YouTube. We just got done with practice a little bit later, a little bit more traffic, but a lot going on. And a lot of the chatter right now is the disrespect, the disrespect going on around the nation. D'Amico Ryans was asked about what Rex Ryan said. CJ Stroud was asked about what Rex Ryan said. Before we get to what they had to say about it, I'm going to ask you, Cody, and the people. Shout out to all the people. Be sure to subscribe to the SNL channel, subscribe to the Locker Room, subscribe to Cody Stutes' channel. Do the Texans deserve more respect than they're getting as a division-winning football team hosting a playoff game?
No. They're getting the exact amount of respect that most of those people who are disrespecting them feel like they deserve based on what they've done when they've been on the big stage. I mean, we've talked about this for years. I think it's one of the best comments that you've made is people on the national stage sometimes feel uninformed about the Texans because the Texans hasn't always given them a reason to watch on the national stage. Think about their primetime or standalone games this year. A rock fight with the Chicago Bears. They had a disappointment in New York against the Jets. They had an awful second half against the Detroit Lions. They were basically neck and neck with the Dallas Cowboys for most of the game till they pulled away there at the end on Monday Night Football. And when Monday Night Football stinks, people check out on that early. They had the standalone game against the Kansas City Chiefs. They lost. And then they had the standalone game against the Baltimore Ravens on Christmas, and they lost and scored 2 points. So nobody watched them play the Titans and have a good drive to start the game last week. Nobody watched them before the bye week have a successful game against the Jaguars, come out of the bye week and skirt past the Miami Dolphins. So this is the respect level that the Texans have earned. You look at who the other 4 or 5s are on the NFC side, like it's some pretty darn good teams. There's some teams that got left out of the playoffs that people probably believe are better than the Texans, like the Cincinnati Bengals. So the level of respect that they're getting nationally is the level of respect that they've earned. You want more? Take your freaking respect back then.
I'm asking the people, do the Texans deserve more respect? Before we elaborate more on this, let's hear from D'Amico Ryans, the head coach. We were at practice today. Will Kunkel, our boy Willie McLovin, he asked D'Amico Ryans about the Rex Ryan comments, and here's what D'Amico had to say about it.
Matter if anybody gives us a shot, it really doesn't matter to me. At the end of the day, when the ball is kicked off, it's who's the best football team right on Saturday, and that's where our focus is on playing really good football. Everybody have an opinion about us one way or the other, but outside opinion really doesn't drive what we do here internally. Like, our guys put the work in, they know what we're about, we know what we're about, so it really doesn't matter to me on all the outside noise.
So something like that's just not even like bulletin board material. It's just,
for me, it's something like that. What does it do? Does it make you play harder because somebody said that? Does it change? Like, we play hard anyway. Like, we're gonna bring our style of football, our brand of football on Saturday, regardless or irregardless of what anyone's a talking head's opinion is about us.
All right, and I would agree with that. And the reality is, and I kind of agree with what you said, Jim Harbaugh has earned the ultimate amount of respect in these situations and in these types of games, like at every level. I mean, this is his 5th NFL season as a head coach. If he loses this playoff, if he loses in this first playoff game, it'll be the first time in his 4 playoff trips that he didn't make the conference championship and he didn't win his first game. So he's earned that. He's got a larger body of work. Between that, he was building college programs from the bottom, building mid-college programs, and then building the powerhouse to reach the ultimate goal and win a championship at the same stadium that he's going to be coaching at. So I think the Chargers, like on the surface, you look at Justin Herbert and you say, well, he's never won a playoff game. CJ Stroud's won a playoff game. Jim Harbaugh has won playoff games. He's been in these situations, and these teams, they're similar. I heard Kirby Smart say the other day, and I thought it was awesome, that after they lost, they asked him about, higher seeds losing, and he said, well, I go by what Vegas says. I go by what Vegas says, and Vegas said that all those teams were worse than their opponent, and Notre Dame was picked slightly above us. So I kind of put more stock in that than some sort of rankings and some sort of seeding and stuff like that. I think it's the same thing. Like Vegas has the Chargers as a 3-point favorite for a reason, and the Texans don't have a body of work. There's a reason that they've been the Saturday 3:30 time slot. This is just reality. Like this is just reality. Like you can try to force tradition, you can try to force respect, you can talk about disrespect. The Texans have a 2-decade mediocre body of work. There's not much tradition. They're one of few teams since they've become an NFL franchise that haven't been to the conference championship. They have an apathetic fan base at most that a lot of time anticipates the worst, and they haven't earned it. So I see nothing wrong with the lack of respect they're getting. I think it's justified. I think it's been earned, but you can change that by going out there and winning the game, and not only winning this game, getting to the place where you've never been, which is the conference championship. So absolutely not. I don't think that this is a lack of respect. I don't think they deserve more respect. And based on what we've seen this year from this team, and we cover it closer than anyone, I think this is about what they should get, and they have the opportunity to flip the switch and shut a lot of people up.
I do feel like there's one thing that DeMeco Ryan said that I disagree with. I don't know who it is, but there's got to be one player. There's got to be someone in that locker room that if you showed them the Rex Ryan clip, they do just a little bit more. They're in their playbook just a little bit more. They watch just an extra few minutes of film. They put an extra lift in. They're a little bit more focused out. Like there's got to be somebody in that locker room that'd be like, man, forget Rex Ryan. Like I'm gonna be one of the guys that shows Rex Ryan he doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, there's got to be someone there. Like, do you play a little bit harder because somebody said that? I probably know for most of the locker room. There's got to be someone in that locker room that if they saw that, they'd be like, all right, I'm gonna put a little extra in. I am gonna do a little bit.
They've
more.
seen it.
Yeah,
like they've seen it. They've seen it, and they believe in bulletin board material, and they believe in proving people wrong. So that's not true what DeMeco's saying.
Somebody is getting them, as we speak right now, someone is getting them a clean, really high definition version of Rex Ryan with his big fake teeth saying that exact thing, and that will be played in a team meeting this week at NRG Stadium getting ready for the Chargers. They will see it. If they haven't seen it, they will see it. I fully believe that.
So the answer to that is no. I don't think they deserve more respect. I think we both agree with that. Let's hear what CJ Stroud had to say about it, though. He was asked about it. I was surprised Man in the Arena wasn't brought up. I would have lost a lot of money if there had been podium betting odds. But CJ was at the podium. He had his beanie on, and this is what he had to say about this disrespect the Texans are getting.
I mean, noise is always going to be there. It's always. It's part of sports, always evident in the sport. And they said the same thing about us last year, so playing the Browns. And I'm not saying this last year, but, we went out there and we did what we had to do to win. And that's ultimately what the playoffs come down to is like, it's 14 teams now and, the microscope is on you. We're the first team to kick it off with the Chargers. And, so everybody has their own opinions, which they're entitled to have those things. So, I really don't mind. I mean, it's part of it, guys. Are smart. They probably can see film and see that, whatever they want to see. So, and for us, we know we have faith in what we can do and know that we're motivated to play. I kind of like being an underdog. I've been an underdog a lot of my life and my career, so it's actually comfortable for me. So, but yeah, I don't really think too much about it.
All right, there you go. So that's what CJ had to say about the lack of respect. And on go ahead.
2.5 underdogs last year against Cleveland. That was the closing line on that. So 2.5-point underdogs. They're 3-point underdogs right now. It's pretty similar.
Yeah, I think it's a little different field, though. I think there was a little more confidence last year. I would say.
And they had played that team already. And they played that team already, and they played them with a backup quarterback. So they hadn't played them healthy.
Yeah, and they got to look at Cleveland at their best. Like, I thought it was actually kind of beneficial. We were talking about going into it, the fact that they whooped your ass. Like, it kind of benefits you because you saw their best.
Yeah.
And you had the shot. Gio says, what was the vibes like at practice? Kind of cold, just chilling. They were playing LiAngelo Ball, the jam. But it was just kind of a laid back practice. Nothing really sticking out.
Now, LiAngelo Ball is the non-basketball playing Ball brother.
Well, he played basketball, just not as well as the other two. But
he's the non-NBA playing Ball brother.
Yeah. He put out a jam that's gone pretty viral, pretty quick.
Is this the whoa thing that I keep seeing everybody say?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah. Texan says Tim Settle Jr. Interesting with Tim Settle today, and I know some people might not say anything. I really don't care. Like, it happened. So, he's actually pissed off at the media now and didn't want to talk. Kind of made a little bit of a scene. I guess he thinks that his comments against the Chiefs were taken out of context or like clipped or something like that. I think is this. He didn't say who specifically he thought did it. The comments by themselves, they kind of stuck there. I don't think there's any like taking it out of context. He said what he said. It was pretty strong. It was pretty brash. He said, y'all, I don't know who y'all is. Like, that's a it's a weak ass generalization, if we're being honest, from Tim Settle, who's been pretty good this year. I actually voted for him for the Good Guy Award. I'll put my hand up. I voted for Tim Settle. But he said that his stuff got taken out of context. I think what's happened is they took it in Kansas City. He had a bad game. He had a moment where he was on his ass as Patrick Mahomes was running into the end zone. And I think he's kind of embarrassed by it. And he's taking it out on like a general anger. But Tim Settle didn't talk today. He was actually really pissed off that he said his Kansas City comments got taken out of context. He couldn't really explain how.
He also claimed
he
also claimed the local media only posted that comment to social media, which is not true. The local media posted the full comments, his entire interview, and other accounts took the part where he talked about Mahomes in Kansas City, and then.
But again, you gotta give me a specific, man. Like that's the whole thing with me. Like, give me a specific. I'm looking at the video I posted. It was 418. Like it was a 418.
Right. He's factually wrong. He's accusing non-local media of being local media. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was a weird thing. On that, Brandon says, cut the guy a break. The entire national media went after him for it. Okay. But what if he would have played good? Like I think that's the real surface. Like, what if Tim Settle would have gone out there? They wouldn't have called the roughing the passer on Mahomes. He would have got thrown to the turf. He would have forced a strip sack, and the Texans would have went to Kansas City and beat the Chiefs. You think he's upset? No, he didn't play good. But I don't like generalizations. That's really like, I try to avoid them as much as I can. Obviously, you can't 100% avoid them, but it would be like if a player did something and then I said, yeah, that's just what players do. That's how players are. You know how those NFL players are. Like, I just think you should individualize. Like, if you think someone in the media did that, tell that person that wasn't the case. It was the clip kind of said on itself. And furthermore, there wasn't any other extra context. It just he kind of played with that chip all year. It went well until it didn't. And on the big stage against the best team, he came up short, and he's upset about it, and that's fine. I really don't care. But that did happen.
And I wonder, with Foley Fatukasi back as well, if there's a chance that there's some playing time cut in that he's not going to get.
Tim's been great this year, and he's been good with the media. That was just pretty weak sauce by him, honestly. Like, we're not meat watchers. We got journalism backgrounds. We both broadcast backgrounds. We're digital. We cover the squad. We try to handle business. When someone brings it, they bring it. When they don't, they don't. It's not personal, anything like that. But I don't like generalizations, especially when it's like it's unnecessary. So if you're mad at someone, get mad at me. But the reality is, he's mad at Chiefs fan 956 or Chiefs Kingdom 8555, who's got the freeze frame of him and Mahomes. So we'll see how Tim does. He's going to have a few cracks at Justin Herbert. He's been good, but Tim Settle, little testy today, little testy today, and you'll only hear about that here. By the way, let's hear D'Amico Ryans talking about the guy that Tim Settle is going to be trying to bring down, Justin Herbert. This is what D'Amico Ryans had to say about Justin Herbert and the challenges that he posed. By the way, 3 interceptions this year. That's pretty damn good. 23-3 is a hell of a ratio for a QB. Here's D'Amico talking about Justin Herbert.
He's an athletic quarterback. He does a good job of course, just ID and defenses, getting his offense into correct play. Smart decisions with the football. He does a really good job of just protecting the football, which is very impressive. Only 3 interceptions on the year, so we know it'll be very difficult to take the ball away from him.
Yeah, it will. And I got to tell you, the Herbert thing is interesting because there was a time where he was supposed to be the next big thing, kind of got pushed back a little bit, the Brandon Staley thing. And now I almost feel like Justin Herbert's gone from being maybe a little bit overrated just because we were talking about him kind of knocking on the Mahomes door and it was kind of premature, kind of like a larger-ish body of work than CJ kind of this year getting kind of pushed back. But now it almost feels like Justin Herbert's underrated.
Correct.
At this point. And when you actually look at what he's done and you take a close look at it, it's really, really kind of fascinating just how good this guy has been this year.
23 was a huge dip for him. So he was obviously one of the best rookie seasons from a quarterback recently. He followed that up with an improvement on a lot of those numbers, threw for over 5,000 yards, 38 touchdowns. Like, he was awesome. Took a little bit of a step back, but was still efficient, good with it. And then last year, he just wasn't very good in a lot of different ways. Like, he wasn't efficient. He threw a couple of interceptions. They were just plays and drives that just kind of died because he didn't make the play. And then he's come back this year, best touchdown interception ratio in all of football. Is efficient with the football, nearly 4,000 yards passing. Yards per play are up. Yards per average are like a lot of stuff about him has just gone through the roof and drastically improved from 2023. And probably a lot of credit to the offensive staff that Jim Harbaugh brought in there. And it's amazing what can happen when you bring in the right coaches and they're able to take the guy and mold him, get rid of some bad habits, put some good habits in with him.
And that brings us to this, and this is just kind of a little bit of a theory, and you're trying to figure out, why has Justin Herbert gone up and CJ Stroud's gone down? A lot of it can be surroundings, coaching, all that type of stuff, but it is interesting that the Chargers did take one of the Texans' assistants in Shane Day, and Shane Day was always a guy that they'd mention, and you just like, okay, you kind of browse over it. But he was with CJ Stroud last year, his rookie year. He was in the quarterback room. He goes to the Chargers. And Justin Herbert has the most efficient season of his career. And then CJ Stroud goes from having one of the most efficient seasons for a rookie, and his efficiency's kind of gone down. So, it's kind of one of those things where I can't sit here and explain what exactly Shane Day does on a day-to-day basis. I know they spoke very highly of it. The Texans did. And I know Jim Harbaugh speaks very highly of it now, but it is interesting that you kind of see the different direction that the seasons have gone. And Shane Day leaves the Texans building and goes in the Chargers building, and Justin Herbert's kind of doing his thing.
Day was also the passing game coordinator and quarterback coach in 21 when Herbert threw for 5,000 yards and 38 touchdowns. So, he's got a good relationship with the guy. He clearly knows how to coach him up a little bit. I think he got kind of lost in the shuffle of some of the disappointment from 2022 for the Chargers. And then, he moves on. He's at the Texans 1 year. CJ's awesome. He's back with the Chargers, and all of a sudden Herbert's awesome again.
So do you make anything of this?
I mean, Shane Day to me is more respected from a quarterback usefulness standpoint. He's got a better resume than Bill Lazor does. He's got a better resume than Gerard Johnson does. He's got a better resume than, he's never called plays, but Bobby Slowick never called plays before last year. Like, Slowick's got one solid year of offense under his belt compared to Shane Day. I mean, Slowick was never a quarterback coach. I think officially Bobby did have some passing game coordinator input in San Francisco. But, I mean, Shane Day was the quarterback's coach and the passing game coordinator for a 5,000-yard season. He's a good coach. He's on my list of potential offensive coordinators if they make a change.
The other element to this, and this kind of emerged yesterday on the night stream, which you can view and listen to 10:30 on the Locker Room channel. The other thing that I thought was interesting is we were talking about the battle of the offensive coordinators, and it's just like That's not even fair. Like, as much as you talk about DeMeco Ryans' lack of experience compared to Jim Harbaugh, which is something he can't really control. And quite frankly, what DeMeco's been able to control has been about as good as you could expect, like realistically. So, I mean, his body of work is solid, but the offensive coordinator mismatch is just insane. Like, it's not I mean, you look at what Greg Roman has done and everything that Greg Roman has been through, and the different quarterbacks and the different types of offense and the different types of system and the games, the situations that he's been involved in. I mean, you go back with Harbaugh, 3 NFC championship games. Greg Roman was there for all of them. 2 different quarterbacks, Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick, 2 different styles of offense there. Then he goes to Baltimore. He basically, there was the joke that he basically wrote the offense on a napkin to fit towards Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson ends up winning an MVP. Eventually the shelf life kind of ruins. And then Greg Roman's just kind of an afterthought after that. And it's almost like this guy's a joke. He's not like a hot commodity. And then you see Lamar, kind of bounce back and win an MVP in another system. Now this guy, I mean, Jim Harbaugh immediately brings him on with him with the Chargers, and he's doing his thing. And I say all that to say, like, the biggest source of frustration for Texans fans has been Bobby Slowick. I know that they're not going to be going against each other or anything like that, but I mean, you want to talk about a battle-tested guy that has been in like big games. Bobby Slowick is not even in the same stratosphere as Greg Roman.
They've got a really, really talented staff over there on offense, and that goes back to a guy that's been around coaching for 20 plus years in Jim Harbaugh, being able to hire those guys. By the way, quick fun little fact for you, Texans fans: Greg Roman, way back in the day,
he was here.
Tight ends coach for the Houston Texans.
Seems like everybody was here in like some way. Like all the guys, like there's like just a bunch of young pups just coming in trying to learn eagerly.
Shanahan, Saleh,
LaFleur,
Mike
McDaniel.
Yep.
All those guys, just like you go and you look and you're like, oh, he was here. I don't remember that too much, but they all tried to figure that out.
I mean, take this again. It's just, I think another thing I would look at when you look at this Texans offensive staff, like the experienced guy is Bill Lazor, and Bill Lazor has had a fine career, but like you look at the staff that Harbaugh's put together. You mentioned Greg Roman. They've also got Shane Day on there. Mark Trestman, remember him way back in the day? Mark Trestman.
I always kind of rolled my eyes about needing like a guy with former head coaching experience. I almost do wonder, like, especially on the offensive side of the ball, if maybe those people were right. And that like Kingsbury has it. I actually would hire Kingsbury if I were the Cowboys. That would be my hire. Maybe that is something they need to look at and revisit, like your list of 30 guys to potentially call offense.
I mean, and not only that, but like, when you think about putting together the offensive staff, like I think a lot of stuff matters. Like Greg Roman's great. Greg Roman's got Shane Day coaching quarterbacks. Greg Roman's got Andy Bischoff as a run game coordinator and tight ends coach. Who did Bischoff coach? Oh, I don't know. Todd Heap. Like Marcus Brady called offense or helped call offense in Indianapolis. Like there's a bunch of experience there. What's Ben McDaniels ever done? What's the tight end coach for the Texans ever done? Like, they don't have a ton of dudes with a bunch of experience on this offense. It's like some of it's been reliant on the talent. Okay, well, there's a limit to what CJ can do when the offensive line can't get something done. There's a limit to what Joe can do. There's a limit to what Nico can do.
Yeah, it always goes back to the offense, which is kind of depressing. Good news is the defense is the defense. So you do have that. So that's really what there is. Not a lot of action in the locker room today. So Tim Settle did not want to talk. He's mad that he played bad against the Chiefs, and his comments got magnified. Joe Mixon spoke. We've got those videos posted. Joe Mixon brought the fire. He is very intense and ready to go. We'll hear from Lassiter tomorrow. We'll probably hear from Blake Fisher. And we'll hear from some of the other guys, maybe Al Shires, like some of the other guys in the locker room. Will Anderson's going to speak later this week. one of the next 2 days. So it was a little bit quiet. The practice, I thought it was weird because they're practicing in the cold and they're not going to play in the cold. So they were kind of freezing their ass off a little bit, which, I mean, if you go to the next round, maybe, it's good to get a little bit chilly, but they were, it was really just kind of moderate. No John Mechie today, which I don't know that really matters. No Shaq Mason. I'm very amused by Shaq Mason watch. Like I went there and I was talking to, Aaron Wilson of KPRC, and he was like,
those are always fun conversations.
He was like, yeah, bro, let's see if Shaq's out there. And I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, and you said it too. You're like, yeah, I was just looking for Shaq Mason. And I'm like sitting there and I'm thinking, what? Why? Like, is there like, is he like coming to save the day? Are they going to start Shaq Mason? Like what? Why do I even care about Shaq Mason?
You're looking for Shaq Mason because if he's healthy, they might start him, and he's worse than Juice Scruggs. That's what you're looking for Shaq Mason for.
Well, I just try to avoid that until I actually have to work. Like, I wasn't looking for Shaq Mason. You know what I did see, though? And much to the dismay of you, the movement is alive, buddy. Tegan Quinteriano was out there, and
I'm the first person that tweeted about it.
My dream about Tegan Quinteriano catching a postseason touchdown is still alive, buddy. Much to the dismay of you, the movement does not die. You can cut him. You will bring him back. You can say that he's hurt. He will be back, whether it's a long absence, short absence. The movement is not dying. Tegan Quinteriano alive and well. It's alive. It's alive. Tegan Quinteriano is alive. He's alive. Oh, my God. Look at him. Look at him going in motion in that three-point stance on offense. It's alive. Look at that 84. He looks like he's trimmed up. Look at that.
Frankenstein's monster might have more flexibility than him.
Irv Smith, move over. Move over. Kate Stover, move over. Quinteriano is in town. Quinteriano is in town.
Tegan, go in motion. No, the other way.
It's alive, man. It's alive.
You want to delay a game? Have him try to figure out where to line up.
I'm telling you, him or Cade Stover scoring a touchdown this week. One of the backup tight ends is scoring a touchdown this week. That's my prediction.
I do like a little sprinkle on underappreciated potential tight end scorers. That is a nice little fun wager to make each week.
Have you watched that Chiefs fan documentary? I'm halfway through it.
Oh, Chiefsaholic?
Have you watched the doc?
I haven't. Is it good?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put it on the.
It's incredible. List. So he was like a degenerate gambler when he like robbed the bank and stuff. Like, so
and he robbed like a bunch of banks, right?
I haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Thanks for the spoiler, dude.
I'm sorry I paid attention to the story when it happened.
But he like had a bet, like,
you know, they shot JFK too. Like that, if you're trying to spoil events that everybody should know about.
They had like a $5,000 bet on like their third string tight end to score a touchdown, and he hit that. But he was like homeless. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he was like homeless. His mom, like, they have a bunch of charges, but some of it was like they were stealing milk and stuff. Like, I don't know, I'm starting to feel sorry for him. I think it might come tumbling down, but I say all that to say that he had like a strong bet on the third string tight end scoring a touchdown, which is what's happening with Quinteriano. Is Quinteriano on the board yet?
Well, no, he's not officially back yet. I mean, I've been there, so I mean, I haven't had to steal milk, but I've definitely bet on third string tight end to score a touchdown before.
Yeah, I've done that too.
Do they have like are they interviewing him like in prison like they used to with like crime docs?
No, he got out on bail, bro. Like
he's out.
I mean, in this movie, he is. He's on bail, and he had like
Are they talking to him?
Yeah. So he put.
Okay.
He put 5,000 or something on Mahomes to win MVP, and like he's in his hotel room out of prison, and he's like they're worried about him running bail because he has the bet on Mahomes, like thousands of dollars on Mahomes winning MVP. He hits that, and then he has the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. It would have been like a $150,000 payout or something, which he's gonna hit because the Chiefs win the Super Bowl that year. So I haven't seen him hit the Chiefs bet yet. So he had 2 tickets when he got out. The bail bondsman's doing him like a favor because he started feeling sorry for him. So he's in the hotel. They just showed him watching Mahomes like winning the MVP. And he's like, yeah, easy money, easy money.
So he's a flight risk because of his potential payouts.
Yes, because his payout is about to be like the Mahomes.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so he's like a gambler too. Like he's a weirdo fan, but he's also like a gambler, and he has 2 tickets in his hand that are like very strong possibilities. So I guess he got Mahomes at like 8-1 because Josh Allen was like the toast, but he did lose 50,000 on the Chiefs against the Bills right before he robbed the bank. So they think that because he like in a regular season game, he put I think 50 dimes on the Chiefs, like the largest one that this Kansas City casino had, and he lost that, and that might have been why he robbed the bank.
Okay, you've sold me on this.
Dude, it's sick. It's sick. Yeah, it's good, man. I wanted to stay up and watch it, but it was like kind of the tweener area where I didn't think I would get like the full appreciation, so I stopped it. But yeah, it's sick. It's legit. And I say all that to say that Tegan Quinteriano is going to score a touchdown this week. That's really the moral of the story.
They got to activate him first, bud. Do
you think they activated that window for nothing? Get ready for that. That's the big Saturday news. I expect at least 1,500 words on that. Well, anyway,
it might not be 15 that I have to offer for you on that.
So to reset it, D'Amico Ryan, CJ Stroud, they weighed in on the disrespect. Myself and Cody believe that the disrespect is valid, although there's an opportunity to end it. Tim Settle's mad because he said what he said against the Chiefs and played poorly. Joe Mixon is bringing that fire. John Mechie's not practicing. Neither is Shaq Mason. Tegan Quinteriano is practicing, as is Foley Fatukasi, and we'll hear from more players later on in the week. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Do we want to weigh in on the state of the AFC South before we get the hell out of here?
Well, don't threaten me with a good time. I'm certainly having fun watching this thing burn to the ground.
It is the worst state of the AFC South, and the AFC South has been a very bad division. I think Amy Adams Stank needs to start being talked about as one of the worst owners in sports. She needs to they need to start putting more disrespect on her name because she's a joke. The Jags are interesting. Khan came out and said he would fire the GM if the coach wanted him to. Spoiler alert, no coach wants to work with Trent Baalke.
Well,
and
here's
might be the biggest joke of all because they're keeping everybody.
So I want to add some more context to this Khan thing. He's asked, would you fire Trent Baalke if the coach that you wanted to hire wanted to fire him? And he essentially says yes on a Zoom with Trent Baalke sitting there. So like, it's not like it's not like it's a press conference and it's just Shad Khan. Trent Baalke's on the Zoom too. And apparently Shad Khan hates doing media, despises talking to him. I was told this week he has his own PR person that doesn't even work with Jaguars PR to like avoid speaking to the media. So it's like kind of a big deal that he had a big media availability. And they ask him in front of the GM, if the new coach wants to fire that guy, will you fire him? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then you got Irsay going after McAfee.
Yeah, Irsay's not well. I know that he's he is not well at the moment. Not that he's ever been well, but he is not well.
And there's not really a pathway out of this for these teams.
No, it's going to come down to the quarterback. And I think Indy has a good coach. They just don't have a quarterback. And I don't know the path towards finding a quarterback. They might be able to find a stopgap. It can be Matt Ryan or Phillip Rivers but they don't have like a long-term solution. The Jags, they have their quarterback. He's just not generational. He's good. So they're just kind of churning. And then the Titans, they're a disaster. They have no quarterback. Their owner's an idiot. They fired the general managers. Like they've fired coaches. That you're hiring a general manager now and saying, okay, you have to work with Brian Callahan. I don't know what's going on there. It's rough.
Yeah, there's not an avenue out. Like the Texans, rightfully so, 2 years ago, were viewed as a just
come on, Nick.
total mess, and rightfully so. Well, you know what they did? They went out there, they hired one of the best coaches in the coaching cycle. The Jaguars aren't going to do that. The Chargers, the Colts, nor the Titans feel like they have an incredible total game changer at the coaching position. And the Texans went and hired one of the best coaches in the coaching cycle, and then they nailed the draft and got a quarterback that you can get excited about.
The craziest thing, like at the top, like CJ or Bryce, like you I know there's already been a victory lap done. I think I would stand by on that and see how Bryce figures stuff out. He was pretty good after he came back from being benched.
Well, past 10 games that they've both played, he's crushed CJ head to head. Like,
he had a top 5 passer rating his since he came back. But I say all that to say this: the quarterbacks after that, LaFar Jackson and Josh Allen, Anthony Richardson, and Will Levis, they could not have been any more bad. And as bad as Will Levis is, at least he was a second-round pick you kicked the tires on. Like LaFar Jackson, that's a disaster. They're talking about, like, should we bring him competition in camp? Why in the hell would he even be part of a competition at this point?
Dude, I do not understand why he gets treated with kid gloves by so many people. He wasn't good in college. The stuff that makes quarterbacks good in the NFL, he doesn't do well. He's not accurate. You can't teach accuracy.
And Will Levis gets crapped on, and rightfully so. But like, why does Anthony Richardson get treated so much differently than Will Levis? Like they're equally as much of a joke. And I would say that maybe LaFar Jackson is a bigger joke than Josh Allen.
Yeah,
weird.
like it's
weird.
I mean, you know what they both do? They both do exactly what they did in college. Will Levis makes a couple of plays a game where you go, what the hell was that? In a good way. And then what the hell was that in a bad way? And then Anthony Richardson goes out there and makes the easy stuff look hard and makes the hard stuff look easy. That's exactly what they were in college.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. And we don't know. And this is the other thing that I think. I don't know that the Texans can point and laugh. I don't know that they can point and laugh. Because the goal was not to be best in the AFC South. Bill O'Brien had that on lock. When the AFC South was a joke, might even been less of a joke than it is now. Although you can lay out the coaches and quarterbacks during O'Brien's tenure and make a case and go side by side. But when Cal McNair fired Bill O'Brien, he went up there and he said, "We are trying to go from good to great." That's what you're trying to do. You're not trying to hang your hat on division titles. It's great that you're winning them, but that's not what you're trying to do. So it's easy to point and laugh, but right now, like you're talking about the Jags, and we're very dismissive of them because we feel like in 4 years we've got enough of a sample size, 3 years, whatever the hell it's been with Trevor Lawrence. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 years. We feel like we've got enough of a sample size to where we know what he is, and more importantly, what he isn't. CJ's got some work to do before, he elevates himself above that. So it's cool that you're able to benefit from that, but it's also like, that's not really what the goal is. And I think CJ said it today.
They didn't reach their standard in the regular
season.
Our
standard. Like our standard wasn't to win the division and win 10 games. And I thought that was cool to hear from CJ. So it's cool to laugh. It's fun to laugh. We'll continue to laugh because we localize it, but there's still a little bit of work to be done around here.
That's the thing is you don't want to be the best team in a bad division. You want people to look at you as one of the best teams in your conference, and you run a bad division year after year after year after year, which is what I think a lot of people expect the Bills to be doing in the next couple of years, which is what the Patriots did when they were really good. Which, I mean, I'd say it with the Chiefs, but the Chargers are in the playoffs, and
you can be in a bad division and benefit from it and take advantage of it in the right situation. That's
what the season was supposed to be about. Like, you were supposed to be in a bad division, kick some ass, and be in competition for a bye or more than one home playoff game.
And you still have the opportunity. You still have the opportunity, and it's not the end all be all, but it doesn't. you can also get to this point in a good division, like you can also get to this point without benefiting from this. See the Broncos and Chargers, like two other playoff teams, like they're basically on equal footing with you. They're not hosting playoff games. They didn't win their division because they happen to have a team that lost one real ball game outside of the one where they didn't play anyone in Kansas City. So you can still get to this point without that. Without benefiting from it, and you might be better off for it. I mean, I think that's part of the apathy for the Texans is people look at this as much like they did perhaps Boise State, much like they did perhaps Arizona State, much like they did perhaps some of these college teams that, hey, you're in this situation because of the division or conference that you're in, and once you face a big boy that's battle tested, you get your ass whooped. And that's kind of the treatment that the Texans are getting right now, fair or not.
Well, and they have the opportunity to erase it on Saturday.
Tazewell says he loves the duo, guys. Be at the game Saturday, hoping to see Texans offense flip the switch and light it up. So we all are. We all want that, man. We all want that. We're not going to lie to you though, but we'll see how the whole thing goes. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really, really fun. Got some more practice stuff tomorrow. Got the night stream tonight at 10:30. Let me see Quitoriano in motion one more time, please.
No.
You're gonna regret that. You're gonna regret that.
I don't think I am.
You're gonna regret that.
It's going down. I am.
The movement is still upon us. Always remember, whether Quitoriano is looking like Lurch or whether he's looking like Owen F. and Daniels, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. And if you think Team Quitoriano is going to score this weekend, I guess you're smoking good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.